Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Motivational Monday, where each one teach one. Hope everyone is good. Hope you had a terrific week and a blessed weekend. All right, let's get started. Philip will join us a little later on, okay? All right. The more we are filled with the Holy Spirit, the more we shall glorify the Lord Jesus. Father, we come to you before with a heart that longs to honor your name. Thank you for your grace, mercy, and the gift of life. We pray that you will guide our steps and align our desires with your perfect will. Please give us the wisdom to recognize your path and the courage to follow it, even when it is difficult. Fill us with your Holy Spirit so that our words, thoughts, and action may be a true reflection of your love to everyone we meet. Help us to bear fruit in every good work and to grow in knowledge of your goodness. When we face temptations or struggles, but our strength and our shield transform our mind and renew our spirit daily, so that we may live a life that is pleasing and acceptable to you. Thank you, Lord, for your unfailing love and for being the center of our life. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen and amen. Okay, let's bring Philia on. Hi. Good night.
Hi, how are you?
Good, 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 good.
All right.
All right.
Today's your girl Nava's birthday.
Happy birthday, Nava. Is she a teenager today?
Not well, she's in her double digits. She's 11.
So she's 11. Nava
Yeah,
is only 11?
I
Why I think
know.
Nava was older than
But
that?
since she does things like an old woman. That's why.
Okay. So we want to say happy birthday to Nava.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday to
Thank you,
you.
Nana.
Happy birthday to
Round of
you.
applause, please.
Happy birthday, dear Nava. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Nava.
Thank you.
May God continue to bless you, guide your path, and so that you can see many, many more birthdays, okay?
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Auntie Phyllis.
All right.
Right.
Okay, so let's shout out birthdays. I
All
want to
right.
say happy belated birthday to my eldest sister Norma. Her birthday
Mm,
was yesterday.
happy
And
birthday.
today we have my niece Alana Liba. We have
Mm.
Paulina. We have Simba turning 49. And we have Jacqueline, Dr. Jackie Wilson, the street doctor.
Mm.
Happy birthday to you guys. Hope God continue to bless you guys richly to see many,
Yep.
many, many more birthdays. All right.
Mm. Amen.
Okay. Word of the week.
All right. Let me get that. Word of the week is this is a word that I've never heard, but it's called accoutrement. Accoutrement. An accoutrement is equipment that is used in a particular place on for a specific activity. And in broader terms, it can also describe any identifying and or often superficial characteristic or device. Accoutrement.
Mm, you know,
sounds like nutriment. Okay.
yeah, right. You know what I always like every week, we
I
learn
know.
something new
Something new.
every week. Um,
Absolutely.
I wanna say condolence going out to the Greenwich family. Yesterday I was in LA and we did went to visit him yesterday and he died this morning.
What? Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And
Wow.
Robert, he is a friend of
Mm.
the show, Mr. Robert Greenwich. May he continue to rest in perfect peace. May the ancestors open his arms. I just want to read a short little bio on Robert. Farewell to a steel pan great. Robert Robbie Greenwich was a world renowned steel pan composer and arranger from Trinidad and Tobago. widely considered as one of the greatest steel pan players in history. He's famous for bringing the instrument into the mainstream global commercial music. He is most notably known as a long member of the Jimmy Buffett Coral Reef Band and a master arranger for the legendary Desperados Steel Orchestra. Born on April the 28th, 1950, in Success Village, Laventille, Trinidad, Robbie began playing at a tender age 8 under his uncle Carl Greenidge. He eventually joined the legendary Desperado Steel Orchestra in 1965 at age 15, touring globally as a teenager, performing at the first Negro Arts Festival in Africa in 1966 and the Montreal Explosion in Canada in 1967. Robert moved to the United States in 1971. That's the year I was born, which was 55 years ago, and studied at the Third Steel Music Show in New York. He later settled in Los Angeles, where he successfully introduced the velvet touch of the jazz steel drum into American rock, pop, and jazz. Robert recorded and or performed with major artists including legendary names like John Leonard, Yoko Ono on the 1980 Double Fantasy album Earth, Wind and Fire, Governor Washington Jr. notably playing on his hit song Just the Two of Us, Taj Mahal, Ringo Starr, Carly Simmons, and Robert Palmer. He also contributed to Hollywood, notably adding his steel pan expertise to recording on major movies soundtrack, including Ghostbusters, Cool Running, Working Girl, and 48 Hours. Robert was a friend to me. I will miss my friend. May he rest in peace. No more sorrow, no more pain. I had to pay him tribute because he is a guest of motivational, Philia. We had him here before. So it's always good to pay homage. All right. Okay, Philly, go ahead.
I just wanted to also mention that it's wonderful that you saw him before going. And that's why when we always put things off for tomorrow, you always say tomorrow's never promised.
Right.
And I think it's just a testament to show your integrity. So I think we all should follow suit. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so our scripture of the day is taken from Matthew 5 verse 9. It says God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. Amen.
Amen.
And we always talk about working for the cause, not the applause. So God bless the works.
Yes.
And our celebrity of the day, you already know New York is in a frenzy. So
Yes.
we are going to shout out our number 11, Jalen Brunson. I mean, he is carrying this team. New York is in a frenzy. They are losing their minds. I mean, we're talking about what, 5 decades since the championship. And those diehard Knick fans, no matter what has happened, they have always been resilient. They have always stuck to. And I mean, God willing, right now we have 2 out of 7. And we're praying. I know today Trump is supposed to be at the game.
Yes.
We're hoping it doesn't cause a disruption and they
Yes.
continue on their winning streak. So shout out to the Knicks, shout out to Jalen Brunson for holding down the team and everybody else who has come together to be the champions that they are. So that's it.
Yes, thank you for that.
Sure.
All right. So, just a little health tip for you guys tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about what are the purpose of veins, right, in our body. Oh, Lord. Hmm. Life, eh, girl? You never know. You never know. Okay,
Mhm.
veins are blood vessels that carry blood back to the heart from the rest of the body. Their main purpose are return blood to the heart after oxygen and nutrients that have delivered to the body tissue. carry waste products such as carbon dioxide away from tissues so the body can remove them. Help regulate blood flow and blood pressure by acting as a reservoir that holds much of the body's blood supply. Work with one way valve, especially in the legs, to prevent blood from flowing backward and to help blood move upward against gravity. Most veins carry oxygen, pour blood back to the heart. One exception is the pulmonary veins, which carry oxygen rich blood from the lungs to the heart. Once again, we are not doctors, we just reading from Google. So that was just a tip for that. You see Melvin in the house. Melvin, we had a good weekend in LA. Thank you. And to the Joseph family again, to Auntie Carol, please accept our condolence from Motivational Monday. So, you want to introduce our guest, Philia, or you want me to do it?
You can do us the honors. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys. Well, we have Donava Blair Williams coming to the stage. She is no stranger to Motivational Monday. And we want to say, Donata, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and chat with us today. And I love the topic that we are going to discuss this afternoon: reclaiming your voice, hearing, healing from narcissistic abuse. So, with that said, I know that could resonate with a lot of people. Share the live. This is going to be steamy and juicy, guys. And we just, it's all about each one, teach one. And, we all are in a position of learning. So, once again, Donada, thank you for having us and for you coming on.
That was some introduction, I would say. But
Yes. See, that's why I said you do us the honors because I knew you would do it best.
good evening, everyone. It is a
Good
pleasure
afternoon.
for me to be here. I'm just having a few people that I invited saying that they're trying to get over to the post. I'm just going to go ahead while, before I start, and just share it with them.
Yeah, you can share it with them. And it's live on YouTube too. Phyllis Worrell on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's easier for me to probably just pull up the YouTube for them and share
Yeah.
it that way. So let me do that. But no, it's a pleasure to be with you guys this evening. Speaking from the perspective of someone who has lived and learned and continue to live and learn. That's
Yeah.
the best way to put it.
Can I
So,
say one thing before you start? I
sure.
want to say I love your growth and your mindset. And you really have grown throughout this little 2 year period to be the woman that you are today. And don't take that lightly and continue to climb. Keep climbing and never give up.
I will say thank you because you was the loudest voice in the room at conference last week. Um, and before I even talk about anything else, I have to say thank you for that because sometimes, as women on a whole, and predominantly Black women, it's difficult navigating a corporate environment. It's difficult navigating life on a whole, and being told as a Black woman you have to find a balance between being passionate and not coming off of as aggressive and still wanting to grow and things like that. So having the support of loved ones and family members, it's amazing because sometimes it reinforces just how good of a job you're doing and it continues to motivate you to continue to do that. So absolutely thankful for that because I know when I said something about JFK, you were the loudest voice in the room. So if there were any nerves on stage in front of them 400 people, you calmed them. I will say that.
No, you was commanding the stage, and that's what I like. And you got it. As Janet said, you got it. And I want to say thank you too for Janet being a mentor in your life. Developing you. I have seen a lot of growth, Donada, and the sky's the limit.
I thank you so much. It's been an amazing 2 year a journey that, quite honestly, I'll start off by saying, and this applies to tonight's topic, but also in general in life. When one door doesn't open. Forget when it closes. One door doesn't open for you because you want that door to open. You want that, and you're disappointed that you didn't get it. Then you realize that everything happens for a reason, and everything is within God's time. Because everything that I would have wanted prior to this current role that I'm in, I don't think I would have had the opportunity to grow and become the person that I am now and continue to become, if I didn't have the opportunities that I had within the last 2 years. So I'm thankful for that.
Good. And Philly, I want to say you glowing tonight too. You okay?
A mess.
No, she have a glow tonight. I don't know what
You
it is,
look
but
very
she's glow.
sunny. I mean, Philly, I know you look like that all the time.
You're
So
on mute. You're
yeah,
on mute, Philly.
No, I said I think it's the ruby woo, Mac. That red. That red is powerful. You can only pull it out every now and then.
Right. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, then, Ada. So let's get into this juicy topic now.
so before what I did a lot of soul searching today and said decided I'm not really gonna share names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna speak from a perspective. I'm not gonna dwell on a lot of the negative. I'm gonna try to look at the positive of it. So the topic came about because I recently went through a situation where I dealt with a narcissist, and I think it's important that as women, when we go through that we uplift each other and we share our stories, because
Yes.
a lot of times there are people who are having this perfect relationship on social media, perfect relationship to their family and friends and co-workers and everybody, and they think everything is going amazing, and what they don't realize is there's always so many layers to everything. There's always
Yes.
layers. So I think it's important that we share a story and we educate younger women. I mean, I consider myself to still be young. I'm 32, but also educate young girls who are coming up in this world and prepare them for the harsh reality that they are narcissistic people out there. They are people that will be presenting themselves as two-faced, and it's important that you take some tips that I'm learning currently. I haven't learned from them. I'm still healing. That's the
Right.
most important thing. I'm still in a healing phase, and I think you're always going to be healing. You're always going to be growing, and be able to share that with them so that they're better prepared and equipped to deal with those scenarios should they present themselves.
Right. So how it had started now. Let's talk about how it had started.
We gonna get the juicy part. So in September of last year, I started my transition from New York to Atlanta, where I currently reside. And for me, moving to Atlanta was the beginning of my growth process. One of my friends today, she said, this was your start of growth. And I was so
Right.
excited about that. Wasn't looking for nothing. I didn't want nothing. I was good in my corner.
Right.
And very quickly, um, I became targeted by a narcissist. I ran into someone that I had known for several. I've known them like about a year prior, and we've known each other in passing, not
Right.
in in the case of where I would say, oh, we were having everyday conversations, and the individual pursued me.
Right.
And the first thing in telling the story, I think the best way for me to do it is to kind of give the things that I've learned as
Right.
I reflect on the relationship. The person pursued me and pursued me very, very seriously.
Right.
Um, they took it to the extent of befriending people that were in my close circle, um,
Right.
because they knew, and I think this is because I've been through trauma before. I had so many hesitations. My instincts were, your spidey senses, as we say, my spidey senses were up.
So
And
that's what we call red flag. So you were kind of hesitant, but you still proceed with caution.
yes, but this is to me, and maybe this is my reflection. These red flags, they're not really red.
What
Let's
are they?
the color between green and red. And I'll say the color between maybe purple. I don't know what color we gonna get between green and red. But I think it's not red flags because one of the things I've learned about a narcissist is they're able to conform themselves to the identity of someone that they know you need in your life. So
Mm.
a lot of times, and coming up to my first point of always following your instincts, and that's one of my healing process. Even when your instincts are telling you no, and you've got this trauma in your life, and you're not sure, should I not, what should I do? They are very good at trying to convince you that, oh, you're looking at your past. That's what's affecting this current relationship. I'm not doing that. So the
Mm.
first thing I would say in learning and growing and healing, it's always about reflecting, being mindful of trusting your
Right.
instincts.
Right.
Um, and I think the biggest thing is discernment. And I've learned that recently because it's important for you to, one, as a Christian, as somebody who believes in God, somebody who believes that God is going to overall take care of things, He covers me. It's important for us to have discernment because you can be the biggest Christian, but if you don't got a little bit of street smart and a little bit, you got to be a little wise.
Hmm.
Discernment is important because narcissists, they typically don't come with a plaster on their forehead that said I'm a narcissist. They don't come with bad behaving attitudes. They don't approach you as someone who is going to your point, show the red flags. They're never
Mm.
that. They
Right.
come to the identity of the man that you want. They're very good at listening, I will say that. Because
Mm.
what they're doing is they're taking that information that you're providing with them and figuring out what directions do I need to go in so that I can kind of secure and control this person. So, coming back to the story, met this individual, and quite frankly, I had my, intuition was going off, wasn't sure, but they were going heavy. They went to everybody under the face of the earth that they knew that knew me and tried to convince them that they were so interested in me. And another thing, coming back to them always making sure that they kind of conform to the identity, the first thing they had said to me was, and seeing you in the office and watching you walk by when I worked with you, they didn't work with me once we had met at that point in time.
Right.
Um, I saw you as a 10. Now, as women, we always want that upliftment. We
Right.
always want that encouragement. So a black man coming to you and saying, I see you as a 10, it's like, ooh, I'm your 10. And that was always the thing. You're my 10. Like I never thought that I could ever bag a woman like you, like a woman of your caliber. They have a very good way of putting you in a pedestal and
Right.
downplaying who they are and what they're capable of just so that they can make you feel safe. So, for several months, I went through that, and I won't lie, I went through the whirlwind romance of dating this man that did everything. I mean, I didn't even know I liked flowers until I dated this man because I was, as soon as a flower died, the next one was coming to the door. Like it was
Right.
that intentional. And I'm,
Right.
my goodness, like maybe it's my trauma, maybe it's there's nothing to think, there's nothing going on. But
Right.
again, I know I've got friends watching, and they will tell you there was a lot of times, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm gonna call y'all out. There was a lot of times that they would be like, "Oh, it's in your head. Don't worry about it. It's not. He's being nice." Like he would have conversations with my friend very early on about, "Oh, I want to get engaged to her. Like I see her as my wife."
Right.
Amazing leader that Phyllis mentioned that is like my mom. And I remember she had went up to him and she met him. She said, "I'm gonna tell you this right now. That's my daughter. If you know you have no good intentions, leave her alone. Like that's my child."
Right.
And he was like, "No, I'm gonna marry her. Like that's my person." And she was like, "Okay." And I'm talking everything that social media depicts that you should have in a relationship, and everything that I think every woman depicts, or if they had a wish list that they would write down, is what I was getting. Doors being opened for me, things being bought for me. It was, I literally felt like I was living the perfect life.
Right.
Remembered saying to one of my friends, "I'm waiting for the other shoe to fall." In the West Indian, we have that saying where all the good is happening, the bad is coming soon. Like I'm waiting for it to fall. And the bad wasn't coming. And
Hmm.
little arguments here and there. And a lot of times, again, you reflect and you tell yourself, "Well, it's my past trauma. I have trust issues. This is why, if this person didn't call me in a certain time, it's my trust issue that's affecting me." You know, this
Right.
person, and let's be real, a narcissist, they know how to target you very well, because one thing that I learned was, when you hear this story, you're gonna ask yourself, how does a man who spends 90% of his time with you, even though he lives in a different city, he goes to his city work and is back with you. How can somebody live the double, triple, quadruple life that he lived? Because
Right.
he wouldn't think that. And I
Right.
think women, we start to think, as long as we kind of have that list that I talked about, and as long as they're hitting those boxes, checking those boxes, we don't realize that there sometimes is more to it.
Yeah.
We sometimes ignore, to Phyllis' point, the purple flags, because they ain't red as yet, right? They're concerning, but they're not
Right.
concerning
So it's different phases. So right
no
now we're in the purple color.
purple box right now,
Right. Not the red.
not the red.
Right.
Well, there is so much in between, but let's get to the red. What I noticed, and to give some backstory, Philia, you know, and I don't know if all of the guests know, I'm a mom of one. I have an amazing 7 year old. And I was very adamant at first about not introducing my 7 year old to this person,
Right.
because I didn't want to involve my daughter into the relationship. And the person came into the relationship with one child at the time,
Right.
that in mind. And they were very adamant about, I want to see if your daughter and I and all of us can get along. And to be quite honest with you, I'm torn on that, because I don't believe kids should be introduced into a relationship early. But I also think it's important to figure out if your child has a good read on that person, and if you guys are able to coexist. Because ultimately, when you're dating, at least from where I am, when I date, I'm dating to build a family. I'm dating for a future. I'm not dating for something short.
Dating with purpose.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, clearly that's not what happened. But we had some good times. Very, very amazing to my daughter. I can't really speak any ill on that aspect of it. I mean,
Right.
we sit down, do homework with my daughter. Right. You would say, how would a narcissist do that? Well, that's because, when you meet with them and you're starting to talk and you're telling them what it is you're looking for in a partner, you're
Right.
mental notes. So
Mm-hmm.
know when it's time to perform, because they're on stage at all time, they're going to perform to the best of their ability. And so we had a really nice relationship in the beginning. And then the little arguments started to pop up.
Right.
And as the little arguments started to pop up, again, I was questioning, is this a case where this person is doing something wrong? Or is it a case where am I using my past trauma to affect my current relationship?
Right.
And I remembered, like, the first thing that happened that popped up, I think it was like a holiday. I believe it was like something happened with a holiday. And he was like, I'm mad at you, so I don't want to celebrate the holiday anymore. And I was like, ooh, now this is not purple, we're in red. Because I dealt with this with the father of my child, where he told me he doesn't celebrate certain holidays. And I am big. If you know me, my Christmas tree, it
Yeah.
goes up from November. So, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, I've learned gradually to really get into it. But certain holidays, especially ones that are centered around family, was important to me. And that got a little messed up, and I wasn't happy about it. But again, they redeemed themselves, because, again, learning lesson, what a narcissist does is they create this roller coaster for you,
Mm.
where when you're down and the arguments and everything happens, the next thing they do will take you to the highest peak, because they'll create that environment, and it's like you're always chasing that high. You're always
Mm.
chasing that beginning of the relationship. I want that old thing back where things was really comfortable. So
Right.
start to get to that point. It's like, okay, this is bad. And then again, reference in social media, they tell you, well, when you have an argument in a relationship in the beginning, it's building you for the future, because you're working out all the kinks early on so that you
Right.
guys have a smooth relationship moving forward. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it's true, but that's a different story. I don't know about that part. But um, the next thing that happened was I started noticing that the individual became very defensive on anything
Mm.
that. And I'm a very strong personality. I will never sit here and say I'm quiet, or I'm a strong personality.
All West Indian woman.
right? And I'm not the person that's gonna you're gonna do something and I'm not gonna question it.
Yeah.
If I called you and you tell me, or if I'm on the phone with you and you tell me, oh, my son is calling, I'm gonna take this call from my son and I'll call you back, and 3 hours later you ain't called me back, I'm not gonna let it go and say, oh, you probably hung up and went about your business. Well, if I'm so important to you, why didn't you call back?
Right.
So little things like that started happening, and the entire time I had no clue what I was dealing with. I think towards the end of the relationship is where I kind of started seeing more and more, and I've had friends say like, hey, you don't belong in this, and I'm like, no, we're going to get back to where we started. And the
Right.
reason you're thinking, why is she's skimming over, because the good parts happened after the relationship ended. That's where the good juicy parts happened. Because
Mm.
what I later found out was the man that I was dating that had came into the relationship with one child actually has 10 plus children.
10 plus children. So wait. Hold up. Wait a minute. So so now we move on from the purple color. So we
We
red
all know
flags
correct.
now. So how did you find this out, ma'am?
Yeah, here's
FBI work?
social media. And before I even continue, I I hope that everybody, because there are a few people that are watching that have been victims of this man, and I shared it with them, and I wanted them to be able. I don't want to tell their story per se, but
Right.
it for me, I invited them to this life because I feel like, we're all at different stages. Some were finding out yesterday, some the wife found out years ago. I found out weeks ago. So,
No, but we jumping the gun. We didn't know about the wife yet. So
oh
tell me
God,
how.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, I jumped again. But no,
Yeah.
let's read. You didn't hear about the wife as yet.
Right.
But let's just say, once we broke up, someone that was very close to me happened to mention that they were on social media, and they happened to bump into a post by a young woman from 2024 where she referenced that she was leaving a lot of things behind in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
One of the post was centered around this man. Now, keep it
Mm.
this out after we had stopped talking,
Right.
and she made mention of a wife and several children. And
Mm.
I said, there's absolutely no way she's talking about me. I see the picture, it's the same person, but they ain't no way she's talking about the same man that I was dating, that I
Right.
probably would have gotten back together with. Because at the time, our argument was not anything that I think would have caused us to potentially end. I thought we was gonna get back together. Like,
Right.
this somebody that we went to Hawaii in February, for Valentine's Day. We went to San Juan in April for my daughter's birthday.
Right.
Spent Christmas together. We spent holidays together.
Y'all
So
spell Thanksgiving together because I remember you
Thanksgiving,
cooking.
um, party. Somebody that I treated like a king and like a husband, because there was always this intention that I'm going to marry you and you're going to be my wife, and this is wifey and all this nonsense. I treated them as such. So I didn't, I wasn't quite sure where that was at the point, but then I started finding out, like I said, the young woman posted in true inquisitive form. Donata contacted the young lady, and
Yeah.
she proceeded to tell me like, hey, this person has several kids. This person has a wife. I
Mm.
child for this person.
Wow.
And you're listening to it and you're hearing it, but you're still not processing it because
Right.
yourself, and I think the biggest struggle for me was, how do I put the person that I know, the
The
manipulator
man who say he
with
only have one child. The
one child.
man who say he's single to having kids now. So
Yes.
how are you feeling emotionally? Is it traumatizing for you? Are you angry? Tell us a bit
I
about your feeling.
different emotions. I mean, if I tell you all my emotions, I might go to jail. But I think the first part was denial for me, because
Okay.
there's no way when you're in someone's home, because he did live in a different city from me, but when you're in someone's home almost twice a week, and the other twice a month, sorry, and the other 2 times a month they're in your home,
Right.
um, where are you finding the time to even live this quadruple life that you're
Right.
living? That's one. So there was no way. The biggest thing was I could not connect the reality of who I was being told this person was and who I knew. It was like I couldn't put the two people together. And what made it even worse was I couldn't confront him because he blocked me.
Mm.
Like, he was not having any more conversations with me. So I couldn't align that these were the same people. Like, it didn't, it took me, I think it took me up until yesterday to really put it together that this is the same person. Even though I know logically and mentally they are, your mind doesn't understand that this is the same person that's loving on you, that's buying you gifts, that's met your family, met your mom, has been around your daughter, has asked for your daughter,
Mm.
to be to adopt your daughter when you guys get married so that we all can carry the same name. Like, and
Wow.
it sounds
He
and it
real player.
outside saying that, a lot of people be like, what? But then as a woman, you think from a family perspective. I want my partner to want that family unit. I want my partner to have that cohesiveness with me. So why would I not want that? Why would I not? Now, I did not agree to that, but I love the way that you're thinking. That's what I'm saying in my mind, because you're thinking family. You're family oriented.
Right.
Well, as I mentioned, I spoke with the young lady, and she proceeded to give me his amazing wife's number. And
Woo!
say this.
So wait, pause. So now this is a single man with one child, right? So now you meet this person. Now he has a wife
A
that he
wife
never tell
of,
you about.
of 12, technically they aren't fully divorced as yet, and she's in the process.
But she's a
But
wife, yes, still.
yes, so his wife
Yes.
met, she proceeded to give me her number. And I think it's important. If anything that this did for me, it's a big learning example that women don't attack women. Because I did not call that woman on no, I'm talking to your husband. No,
Right.
it was never none of that. She did not meet me out with that in any way. She is somebody that I actually had a lengthy, oh, we've had like hour conversations at this point. We call ourselves, we said we're offering a support group at this time. And so we need it. It's a support group. And I think it's important that we don't bash each other as women, because we have to sometimes realize we're not the problem.
Right. Right.
We didn't create this for ourselves. We were just like how I was manipulated. She went through it way more than I did. I was with this man for 8 months. She was with this man for over 10 years. So it's
Wow.
I
So how many children he has with a married wife?
two children,
Two. Okay.
two children,
Two.
and
Okay.
though none of those two children, unfortunately, to a beautiful, amazing boy and a girl, are any of the children that he claimed the one to be. It was not.
Mm-mm.
So met the wife, via phone, and she proceeded to tell me like, listen, you're not the first. You're about, I think she said you're like about number 50 that I've encountered,
You
and
how much?
50, five
Good.
that I've encountered. And she said this is what he does. He's manipulative and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. At that time, I didn't have the capacity to process my relationship and what I was dealing with, because I had an amazing conference. And imagine you're finding all of this out before you have to plan an event for 400 people and go on stage and present. You
Yes.
kind of block out the noise, right? I don't know about everybody else. That's me. I block out the noise. I cried my little tears, went through what I went through, my emotion, and blocked out the noise. And immediately after my conference was over, I broke down, because that was the moment that reality hit, that I'm in this beautiful two level suite that I fought for and worked my behind off for us to share, and there's no us in this. It's me by myself.
Wow.
Um, I don't have that person here to support me and watch me on stage and clap for me and tell me, because that was one thing that he was good at. You
Right.
know, if he didn't get to see something that I did, he would always ask for videos and always tell me how amazing I was. And
Right.
it always, and if he did have an opportunity to see me in my work element, he would literally like, that's why you're my 10, like you're amazing. So it
Right.
was difficult for the first time in a very long time not having that. And maybe I can attribute it to maybe self confidence. I don't know. But I think as a woman, regardless of how confident you are or not, you want those praises, especially, like I said, when you're a Black woman in a predominantly, in some cases, an environment that I didn't grow up in corporate life. I didn't, this was my first time being corporate. I didn't work in corporate before. So for
Right.
me able to come in and break barriers, and I see them as barriers for someone who is, you took them out of an operation where they know what they're supposed to do and put them in something completely foreign, and them for them to be successful. It's different.
Right.
So, conference ended, and I thought I knew everything at that point, right? I
Right.
thought I knew it all. And there's a post on Facebook in Are We Dating the Same Man?
Yes, I heard about that post. Well,
I,
Philia don't have social media, so we have to keep her up with. But I saw it, and it have a next one. I remember one of my coworker was on it too. Yeah, but let's go ahead. Mm-hmm.
so it was I kind of started watching the post, let's say it that way. And out of, at first I was watching it, and then afterwards, as it took me a while. I'm not going to say here, I'm in good spirits now, but it took me a while to be able to get up and function after my conference. It took some time. And, me, I like to throw myself into work. So I'm like, okay, next thing I got to do, next project, next goal. I'm ready to go. I can't stop and let this impact what I do. One night I'll never forget, I was on the post, and what happened was I saw some additional comments, and one of them was, "Oh, he just had a baby with my cousin that was born prematurely in April." Yeah, I said, "Excuse what?" And then, but that one was anonymous, so I didn't really follow up much on that one. And then there was another one with a young lady that said, "Oh, this was my boyfriend from 18 months ago, and he owes me money." And I'm like,
Hmm.
so again, me being inquisitive, I reached out to her, and she proceeded to tell me that she dated him um, for some time on and off, as recent as I want to say somewhere around August,
So he was
September.
playing you and the girl at the same time.
No, so that person, he was not paying with me at the same time,
Okay.
because she was very helpful. She helped because, let's just say somebody that's paying child support for 5 children is not going to be financially stable, regardless of how much money you make. I think, unless you're Nick Cannon or somebody, and I
Right.
think it's a great value version of Nick Cannon, but that's a different story. Um, he she mentioned, she said to me like, "Hey, this man owes me money. I bought him a bed, the bed that I was sleeping on, y'all, the mattress." And it was so significant to me because I remembered when I first started visiting him, and I was like, "Oh, this mattress is so comfortable. Where you got it from?" He's like, "Oh, I bought it from Mattress Firm." And da 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 da. No, you did not. This woman spent her money and bought this mattress for you. And
Wow.
so, in doing all of that, and I thought I had got through the worst of it, to be quite honest with you. I thought it was the worst of it until, and there was like another person that commented and said, "Oh, I met him on a dating app, and in November, he invited me to his apartment, but nothing came of it because he had to leave or something like that." And I'm like, "Oh, wow. There's quite a few women here." But again, it didn't impact me like what I was going to learn yesterday.
Right.
And I know she's watching, so I'm going to be respectful of what I say about her story. But she reached out to me, and again, another sweet person, in my opinion, sweet young lady. She's like, "Hey, are you Donata? I'm bringing this to you because I've been dating this person from October to currently,
Hmm.
and we lost a child in January." Okay, now you're playing with me. Now you're playing with me. I'm sorry, you lost a child in January when I've been
Mhm.
saying from September through 3 weeks ago. You lost
Yeah.
a child in January, and so we connected. And one detail I forgot to mention was that I was given a promise ring. And she was like, he promised to propose to me, and we're trading messages and trading. We're on FaceTime, we're screen sharing. Again, I'm not beating her down, she's not beating me down, because again, we quickly kind of realize, and it speaks to me on the caliber of women that he chooses. It's the type of women that we have integrity about ourselves, we
Right.
respect ourselves, we're not gonna throw hands in the street. No, that's not our style.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh yeah, he said he was gonna propose to me." We were talking about it, and she sent me a picture of the ring, and I sent her the picture of me having the ring that he was gonna propose to her with.
Right.
Yes. So, so next thing you know, her and I started talking, and she's like, he's messaging me right now. Like, he's like, babe, I just got up. Keep in mind, I haven't heard from this man in 3 weeks, and I haven't had an opportunity to confront him. But because I know the type of man he is, I quickly said, hey, don't react. Let's plan.
Right.
So we created a little plan, and she went to go see him in his office, doing this on work time, might I add. And during that time, she confronted him. I was on FaceTime. He was not aware of it. And she said, somebody mentioned that your girlfriend was at a conference or something. Who's your girlfriend? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I specifically told her not to say my name, like throw a couple of D's around there, Donette, whatever you want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
And finally he said, who's Donata? Oh, that's my friend that I went to Hawaii with. And she was like, your friend? And I was like, ask him the timeline. He was like, oh, that's my friend. Whenever I go to work in Atlanta, that's my friend. And I think the thing that has me the way that I am right now and made me feel comfortable enough to do this is because I said, let me know when you're ready for me to talk.
Right.
And she took the phone off of the AirPods and turned the phone so he could see who was on the phone. And I said, I'm your friend that you went to Hawaii with. I never seen somebody jump out of a chair that quick in their life. That man was dancing around that room like somebody was doing something to him. And I said, you had this girl pregnant in January and you're laid up with me in my bed. And he said, who was pregnant? What are you talking about? Keep in mind, this young woman and him went to a doctor's appointment. And the fact that he chose to, in front of this young woman, lie and say who was pregnant. Now, I don't know what he was trying to save face for because I'm not getting back with you. So I don't know who you thought you were saving face for by trying to deny that this girl was pregnant. But I think he was caught off guard and he didn't know for the first time how to respond to it.
Right.
And I went through it. But I think the most important messages that I want to leave, and I'll stop and let you go ahead, Miss Green. But there's just a couple of things I want to leave people with.
Right.
That I'm still growing. This is still very new. I found out about the woman that miscarried in January yesterday. I didn't know I was gonna have all this information, but the couple things I wanted to leave it was one, to release guilt as women when we encounter that because it's so easy and I dealt with it. I was like, oh my God, I brought my daughter into this situation. I
Right.
don't have my blind,
Yeah.
like I need to be better, I need to be full. And then you realize you have to release the guilt
Right.
because who's narcissistic and who is a predator, they will take advantage of you and they will show up in their greatest form for you. And you can try as you may, but it's very difficult for you to see that. And I'm thankful that it did not last beyond a year or I didn't get pregnant. Something he wanted. He wanted more kids. He kept asking me for a child. And I said no.
So after
But
10 children, he want more. These people
I
good, eh?
none of them. Sorry about that. So I'll say release the guilt is one of the biggest things that I'm working on. Practicing discernment to better understand that what people motives are when they come to you. And it's not judgment, but it's discernment. They're very different.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment is me saying, oh, I'm judging you because I don't know what you're, as opposed to, okay, this is what you're willing to offer me. Let me take some time to really mull over that before I make decisions. I
Right.
think it's also important that women learn, because this is a big one, not to share their past trauma with men
I
unless
always say that. I always say
you
that.
are always raised to think, oh, you gotta tell your story to the next man so he knows
Nope.
what not to make. Nope, not happening. Because what a manipulator and a narcissist will do is take those stories and figure out how it was that you were able to find these things and
Mm-hmm.
use that to their advantage.
Good.
And the last thing I want to say is learn how to navigate the silence, something I'm still learning, because the silence can be very loud. Because when you are accustomed to having someone champion you and someone always on the phone, because I'm talking 6 hours, 8 hours on the phone on our days off if
Yeah.
we're not together. 6 hours on the phone very easily. Going from that and someone always coming to be by your side and be with you, and now having to navigate the silence. Your friends and family, they're always going to support you, but at the end of the day, they have their lives, right? So
Right.
you have to learn how to navigate, and maybe taking that time, as my friend said today, to learn you, date you, learn what you like and how to spend time with you, so you're not, eventually you'll be able to overcome that. And the last thing I will say is just continuing to not chase, because even in this instance I didn't chase, I was chased by someone. but knowing that in God's time, He's gonna put the right person in your life so that you don't gotta sit up on motivational Monday and tell your story.
I just want to say thank you for your transparency. I think you let everyone know what to look for. I mean, even myself, I learn a lot from what you said tonight, you know. And I know Philia will talk because Philia has a story too. But I just want to say, Nicole said they find and make the time. It's like there are extra hours in their lives you don't know of. And it's true. But I one thing I want to ask you, are you seeking therapy? Because I think therapy will help you a
Yeah,
bit.
I left out the best part of this conversation. This man went to therapy with me, by the way.
Jesus Christ. Hmm.
This man sat up in therapy with my therapist and told my therapist how I'm his 10 and how I mean so much. We went to therapy. Now, say that to say I haven't gone back to therapy as yet. The only I did let the therapist know that she got duped too. And I
Yeah.
think for me, I have a love hate relationship with therapy. It's not to say that I won't go back, but I think for me, I haven't found the right therapist
Okay.
because I think where I stand and how I am, I don't need somebody to tell me, oh, you're smart, you're beautiful. No, I need to
No.
get deep rooted issues. I need somebody that's going to be blunt with
Right.
me so that I can if get to the point of healing. But what I will say is I've done a lot of reading. When I left Orlando and was heading back to Atlanta and was really coming to grips with it, I purchased the book about emotional intelligence and
Yes.
reading that. I've been watching a lot of this show called Tonight's Conversation because you hear a lot of women with similar stories, but you also get a like I learned about discernment through that. So I am using other methods until I can find someone that are able to meet the needs that I want as a therapist.
Yeah, someone is saying yes, true. They only tell you what they want you to know, and they make extra time for all the other women. No, it's true. Then I would want to say from my point of view is what helped me earlier on in my life. I started to read Yanda Van Zandt
Mhm.
books. She have a lot of good help, self-help books that gives you that strength that you need, that internal strength. Because back then it didn't have therapy and different thing back when and social media and different thing. And one thing I want to tell you too, I love your detective work that you did that you went on Instagram and you went on Facebook or wherever and you get all this information. Again, we never know who is coming at us or against us. So I want to say point taken there. Philia, go ahead.
Danada, thank you so much for your transparency. I think your story definitely can help so many people. And it's not just a man thing because women can be narcissists too. So, um, but I think it's interesting because our stories are very, very similar. Um, the, thank God you did 8 months. I did 13 years. And you're right about red flags don't seem red. You know, they're actually I did look up the color. Uh red and green is like a bronze. So so we're gonna stay in bronze and not purple, right?
Yeah,
Because
bronze.
what happens is that I think, like you said, you know, you've already come from trauma, you find somebody who's refreshing, they're telling you all these wonderful things, not that the things that you already don't know, but they're reinforcing these things that you know. They're saying all the right things, they're punching the right buttons, they're hitting the right marks, they have the right check off list, and you're like, is this really real? Because there can't be people who are really like this. Or how did I get so lucky to
Yeah,
come from where I came from, or to come from a relationship that was unfulfilling to now this person who is rocking my world and offering this, and this is great, and sex, and blah, 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 and going out and opening doors. So it's so when you start seeing the flags or feeling them, sometimes you talk yourself out of them because one, when you really know, you got to do something about it. So sometimes you don't really want to know. It's like, okay, is it? Nah, I can't be, because how could this same person be also be this? But what we realize in life is that two things can still be true. Um, People who are narcissistic or narcissists, they are so skilled in being able to find the deficiencies and the inadequacies and the holes, and they know how to fill them. And what happens, as intelligent and beautiful and witty as you are, sometimes when we want, they feel that need of the wants. And that's the problem. And that's why I do agree, not speaking of everything that has happened in your past, because they know the things to say. They know you went through this. So, of course, they're going to say the opposite things.
Mhm.
And I always say people can't fake too long, but narcissists can fake too long. They're capable of doing it, right? But one thing I could say is that everything in darkness comes to light. And I think because you are a woman of God, that's the reason why you were able to see this now, and maybe not 10 years from now, like unfortunately the ex-wife, which thank God she's going soon to be ex, because you can be in this darkness for a long time. And what happens is you start losing who you are. You start regretting meeting, letting them meet your family, letting them meet your kids. But just understand that your daughter's resilient. um she will come out unscathed. Yes, there might have been a connection, and I'm sure his relationship with her was actually good, because what happens, we can't dictate the different relationships. That's because it didn't work with you. This does not physically mean that it didn't work for her. But the two is a package. You can't have her without you, you can't have you without her. So unfortunately, it doesn't work with you, it's not going to work with her. So that's another thing with narcissists. It's like they know how to, like he was skilled in befriending your friends, befriending people in your circle, because he knew that if he had everybody to like him, if you had discernment, they will talk you out of it. And that's exactly what they did. And this is what they do. So similarly, the person I met, this is my two last, my Nava and Noah's dad. When I met him, a cop, it's like, oh, I love your smile. Telling me, because most people talk about my body. He was like, you have a beautiful smile. I'm like, oh, that's different. No one ever talks about my smile. Oh, you have
Right.
beautiful eyes. It's like, oh, I didn't even notice your butt. Oh, I didn't even notice your body only afterwards. But what drew me to you is your articulation, your this. So that was the first thing. It's like, you start to warm up. You start telling them I was in an abusive relationship. I was married for 20 years. I was unhappy. I was unfilled. I just stayed faithful because that's my culture. Blah, 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 blah. These person starts to say the things
Feed on
that
it.
are opposite. Exactly. Now it's like, oh, I wish I could have a son, because I had two daughters already. And it was like, I wish you could just give me a son. I'm like, people are asking me, I get pregnant, and it's like, oh, how many children? Well, this is his first, and this will be my third. Now, when the insurance cards come, I see my son has the '07 behind the same number. And I'm like, '07, that means there were six kids before him. Of course, I know this now, but at the
Yes.
time, the things they were in my face. But it's like, I'm like, why does the number have an '07 behind it? And he was like, oh, it was because of they had to make some changes, how it is, blah, 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 blah. Lo and behold, this person, he had six children. One of them I only knew because 2 days before my son was born, he told me he had to go to Guyana because he found out that, the State Department sent him something and he might have a child and blah, 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 blah. This daughter now lives with me. You know
Right.
her, Brianna. You see her at
Right.
the parties. I'm not with her father anymore, but she's still my baby. I've known her
Right.
since she was 5 years old. She's now going to be 22 years old.
Yes.
So it just goes. So for me, I said she has nothing to do with the BS. That's
Right.
still my baby at the end of the day. If it meant that I had to go through what I went through just to meet her and be her mother, then it's worth it.
Right.
Right? He still gave me two beautiful children at the end. But that the narcissistic ways still continued until I had to say enough is enough, because whenever things were presented to me, I wanted to ignore them, because I knew that if I found out, I would have to do so much unpacking and so much unraveling. I didn't know I had the fortitude to be able to take that. So I just ignored. For me, the reason why I don't have social media, because all the baby mamas were DMing me. Oh, we're having a son. Oh, we're having a daughter. Oh, we just. So I come to find out I'm watching a video one day from an unknown number. I'm seeing a wedding going on, and he's the groom. Mind you, we own a home together. We had business together. We owned a home together. We raised a family together. And I'm like, huh? Like, how is that even remotely possible?
Mm.
So even after I found out, it still took me another 3 years before I physically broke up with him because that information was so heavy that I didn't even know where to start. I
Right.
didn't even know where to start once I found that information out. So, one thing I could say about women is that once we've made up our mind, we're already planning even before we do the act. So for me, even though like for you, I feel that you're unpacking, took some time up until yesterday, you're just finding this information out. For me, looking at a video of a wedding going on and he's the groom, it's like, wait, what's happening? I didn't physically break up with him officially, mentally, physically, spiritually, because there's soul ties. There's so many things that happens in relationships. It's not just saying, oh, I'm breaking up with you. I feel like had I not met Phyllis, I don't know what would my life would have been like. Because the first thing Phyllis said, because I used to still cook for this man, even though I found out he was married to somebody, right?
Yep.
I was still cooking for him. And it was like, why are you cooking for this man? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what else not this is what I do. I'm a wife, even though I'm not his wife, right? I'm doing wifely things. I was married to someone for 20 years. I'm not used to being in relationships and not being married. So I'm going to do those things. She's like, stop cooking for him. That's the first thing. She's like, first you stop cooking, you stop having sex. Once you stop, you take those things out, he's gonna know you're serious.
Yep.
And I always say the first time I did, I called her and I'm like, Phyllis, he's here. I don't know what he's gonna say if he comes home. She's like, don't worry about it. Don't cook for your kids and go upstairs. And I
Mm-hmm.
was so afraid of the outcome, but that was the beginning of my physical disconnect from him. Because once I stopped cooking, we stopped having sex, we stopped this, then it was like, oh, then what am I coming here for? I was like, yeah, you're barely here for the kids anyway. What's the big deal at this point? But it took some dismantling. And eventually, after 13 years, up until last November, we still owned a home in November in Queens. But I had already moved out. I met Quan, we got married. So all this stuff. So up until last November, I was still tied to him because we had gotten into fight. We got financial how you call it, connections that we
Yeah.
had. So even though I was married, I was still he was still affecting me. My credit had gone down to I didn't even know credit can even go to the fours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. God, thank God, I'm now back at a 703. When
I
he
remember
met
you
me,
used to tell me you're living in overdraft, you remember?
I lived in overdraft for 3 years. 3 years, I mean, after being with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now my credit is at a 712. This is at a 410. I didn't even know it could even go that low because
Yeah.
of this man. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, I promise you. And yes, it's so hard when you're attractive and you're smart because you hear that all the time, but you can still hurt. But just know that as a woman of God, as a child of God, you will heal from this. I promise you. And there is someone in already in the making. Someone God is already fine tuning, knowing the walls, knowing the red flags. Thank God for discernment. You won't make the same mistake twice. You just won't.
So the one thing I want to say, I got a message, and the young lady that I met yesterday that helped me pull off what I felt like was my final goodbye.
Mhm.
She was watching the show, and unfortunately, she had to drop. But I just wanted to share her words because I think it's important that we understand how we impact each other. She said, "Hey, I can't finish watching it because she has to work at 4:30 in the morning." She said, "But all of you are motivational, and I'm grateful to hear the advice, and it makes me at ease knowing I'm worth more than what I was before. Thank you so much for inviting me to watch." And this is somebody that I met yesterday through the circumstance of, oh, by the way, we're dating the same man, and I lost his child in January. And so I think it's important for me. I think it was difficult at first to tell my story because I thought that as someone who's trying to build themselves and create this life for themselves, it would affect me and have a stain on me. But I'm starting to learn that this man's action and his behavior is in no way, shape, or form a representation of who I am. I was unfortunately like many women who are looking for just the partnership and the love and the affection and all of that. I was just one of those women that were looking for that, and somebody who said I'm gonna give this person a try, even though they ain't my type. Because I can't tell you how many times I said that ain't my type. But I'm learning. I'm learning that, and to your point, I'm unpacking. I think for me, the biggest thing that I wanted was the closure to confront him, and because he had blocked me and I couldn't do that, and
Right.
seeing me rattle his cages yesterday, and I felt like I took my power back because
Right.
so long I felt like he had control and power over me, and for the first time yesterday, knowing that I was able to take my power back and show him that you met me as a strong, independent woman, and I've learned this. Men who are not confident about themselves, who are narcissists, they will meet you and they see you and they never target women who don't have a lot to give. They target the ones that have a lot to give because they feed on who you are and what you have to offer. And they take and take from you, and then they look at you and say, you're not the person I met because you were stronger or you were this or you were that. And it's important that we be confident in who we are as women so that we don't continue to lose ourselves to men who don't deserve it. Because quite
Mhm.
honestly, what I'm learning is some people can show up one way and make you think that they deserve you, but only time will tell. And it
Yes.
can happen to me. It can happen. It has happened to Philly, and it will continue to happen in this world. But
Yes.
it's how we. It's not how not to get involved with a narcissist because you
How to navigate it, how what
navigate
to
it.
share, what not to share, as she said, what to look for now,
Yeah.
Nicole is saying, but telling your story is also helpful. Anthony is saying strong enough to bounce back and take control of your life. Nicole is saying sometimes you get comfortable and don't want to face the truth because you then have to let go of that person. But again, hurt people, and that's why we bring in the awareness so that people could know that this could happen to them too, because as you went in this knowing that this man tell you he has one child and his 10 children and have double triple lives, you are not the first one. Philia is not. There are millions of people that in relationship and people living double lives. But I want to say thank you for your bravery and being transparent, because a lot of people would have been ashamed to talk, or they would have been still in the messy relationship. Then you're unhappy, you have bag under your eye, you're losing weight, and he living good, happy pappy to his next victim. You understand?
I will say thanks to him to losing weight because I realized I dropped 6 pounds. But it's a good 6 pounds. I told my friends, I said I lost. That was the stress and the weight of the stress in him on me. I dropped 6 pounds, and I have more to drop. But I'm just happy. I'm happy that I can walk away from this. I'm not done healing, but I know that I'm gonna walk away from this being a better person and having a better understanding of life.
And I think too, just having the sisterhood and having that strength, because when I heard this story, I was like, nada, nada. We have to share this. We have to share it because I know it have people out there that is going through the same exact thing, you know. And but I just want to say I'm very proud of you, proud of the stand that you take, and letting us know to be wiser, especially when we dating, because as we grow older, we dating now, the dating field has gotten different.
Yeah.
But again, we know what not to do. You don't share your past. Your past is your past. That's why there's a rearview mirror to just take snapshot of your life. God didn't want you to turn back. You understand? So, we live and we learn, and thank you for sharing that too. I believe in not sharing nothing. My past is my past. If a guy come, how much money you have? What you want to know how much money I had for? You had your life, I had my life. I don't want to know how much woman you have, so don't ask me them kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying? To me, I just say that is insecure man, or what good of that will it be? If I'm 55, you come in to ask a big 55-year-old woman like me, how much man you had? I had man. You understand, Donada? But again, it's the insecurities and different things that people ask you, like different stuff. So, and that's why they say, from the time a guy come and open him out to me, I just cut them down. Bang, bang. You ain't talking to me again. Oh, I'm intimidated. She too think. No, because when you open him out, what you bringing to the table? What you have? You understand? Nah. So, yeah, I glad that, you saw and you investigate. I love your investigation. And I think everybody who's looking at this program, go and check these people. And first thing I will say, don't let nobody know, eh? I want this to be private. They always want to be private. You see that private thing? The hot thing to hide.
No, I will tell you, this is the difference with a narcissist. He was not wanted to be private. That man wanted me to be posted everywhere. He wanted everybody to know I was dating him because he wanted to show, look, I've got this woman. I've got, and unfortunately, that again, they come in so many. I hate to say shapes and sizes, but honestly, that's how they come in so many different characteristics that you can never tell what is
Yeah.
accurate versus from what is not. And overall, I think, as you said, we just learn.
Yeah.
Every on this earth is a learning lesson to us. Every opportunity, good, bad, and indifferent experience that we've been through is a learning opportunity for us, and I take it as such. I'm not going to let someone dictate or control my happiness. Um, I wanted to send him this because I'm still not blocked, I believe. I wanted to send him this so he could hopefully reflect on it, but I'm learning that also I can't make you learn, and that's not for me to do. And that's not for whichever woman. God be bless that woman that's willing to do that for him. Good luck. But it's not my job for you to realize what you've done. It's my job to heal and continue on with my life.
I think so too. And I know you will do bigger. You're onto bigger and better and greater things. You understand? And you have a beautiful 7-year-old that you need to spend your time with and give that time to her. And, moving forward, you'll just proceed with caution.
Absolutely.
You know what to do from what not to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
He said those insurance cards hold top secret information.
Yes.
Yep.
The
Insurance,
baby mamas pop
absolutely.
out the woodworks. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank God that, they come together. And as the Nara say, it's not a bickering thing. It's about, sharing information and really getting, because if the Nara wasn't open to listening, she would not have known that this man is 10 children and not one. You understand?
It was an encounter. We don't know the exact number. Let's
Yeah,
remember.
we don't know the exact number. But thank you so much, Donata. Have a blessed and safe night. And thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. Philia and I appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you for giving me the platform to do so. I truly appreciate you and Philia and the opportunity to help educate women and provide insight for them.
And Nicole is saying, when getting into a relationship, we need to put God first. God will show us who the person is by exposing them through different avenues. Amen to that.
Okay.
I always say proceed with caution. All right.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed night. Love in the house. Bye,
Okay, Frankie, what
Philly.
happened?
Okay, guys,
How
look
did
out
you hurt
next
your hand?
week.
Let's
We
start there.
have swag 8 next week. Get your
Frankie, you were
tickets.
jumping.
Call me and let me know, okay? If you guys need
Okay,
tickets.
guys, how did
Love
you
in the
hurt your
house.
hand?
See
We
you
have
guys.
swag 8 next week. Get your Frankie, you were jumping.